What's up, everybody? Mike here. In this video, I want to go over some, beginner tips, some first things to do with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I know this game's been out for a little while, but I still want to give at least my opinion and 2 cents on like what I think is important to do early on in the game and focus on to help the rest of the game be a much smoother process for you overall. And plus, I know there's some people that didn't even get the game right away. Some people just recently got it. Some of y'all are about to get it maybe within a week or later on. So this video will be helpful to you. So first up, I want to talk about character switching in combat. This is very important to do. This is something I did on a regular basis in Remake, and it's going to be vital to do here in Rebirth because you don't just want to stay playing as one character in combat, like Cloud, for example. You don't want to say to him, you want to switch between characters, use their different abilities, attacks, spells that you have, things like that, because it's going to help with defeating enemies faster. Plus, we'll get used to the characters and each how they play, because every single character plays differently and super fun. And it's so fun to experiment with different characters, attacks, abilities, and learn each character's uniqueness. Along with that, each character has unique mechanics. So you want to master those unique mechanics for each character. Because, for example, Red 13 has a vengeance mode that he goes into that builds up from him blocking correctly and perfect blocking, things like that. Cloud can do this dodge and wave hit mechanic where basically you dodge with him and then hit the square button and he sends this green wave energy at enemies. This is good to use against flying enemies because he's probably one of the few characters that's really good at just getting into aerial attacks. I would say Tifa is as well too once you lock a certain ability. And then of course, Barrett and Aerith are ranged combat characters in their own right. As basically just, they're made for ranged combat, so no problem with them getting aerial. But for the melee characters like Cloud and Tifa, once you understand them better and how to use them with their unique mechanics, you'll be able to get in quicker and easier against flying enemies. And then something also that is very important, and I would say a bread and butter to almost every, combat encounter you have with regular enemies and boss fights, is focus on pressuring and staggering enemies. All right. You want to do this to enemies and bosses as much as possible, because that way when they're staggered, you're just doing even more damage to them. Each character will have, abilities that will help with either making the stagger last longer or do more damage while enemy or boss is staggered. So definitely pay attention to that as you progress through the game, and you'll just have a lot more fun. You'll be able to experience a lot more cool things in fights overall. Having assess equipped is vital to learn enemy weaknesses, guys. Have at least one character with this materia equipped. I personally just leave it with Cloud because I believe he started with it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it on Cloud. You do get another assess materia as you progress at some point. So if you want to have two characters with assess, that's up to you. In case you ever run into trouble and forget to do it and one character goes down and you're like, oh wait, I still need to assess this character. Or not this character, sorry, this enemy or boss. But yeah, I would say it's very vital. At least keep one on you at all times, because they're going to be, with each new region, new area, things like that you go to, there's going to be new enemy types, variations of enemy types you're going to assess. And sometimes you have to reassess the enemies because you may forget what they're weak against, and you need to know what to exploit, and know the strategy against said enemy, so that way you are always successful in these fights. Build towards synergy abilities. So I was kind of alluding to this earlier. I didn't really specifically mention, but this is one of the things that is part of characters' unique mechanics, as well as the switching characters in combat, because this ties back to that. Because utilizing synergy abilities is going to help build your A to B gauge, and also your relationships with characters. You'll pull off these synergy, skills, which are basically not just abilities, but the regular abilities you do is part of regular attacks, but an actual sort of synergy skill that's combined with another character. You'll be able to pull off. It's like a mini limit break, basically. It's super cool. Each character has different ones they do with the rest of the cast there. And not only that, you have this sort of separate meter that you have to build up, but both characters have to build up to even pull it off, though. So it just can't be one. So for example, Cloud, you'll see that this sort of blue meter kind of looks like maybe ammo, and you'll see it build up on him. But if you don't have a build up on Baird, for example, or Arif or Red 13, along with him, they're not going to be able to pull off the synergy skill that's basically like a mini limit break. So just be aware of that, pay attention to it, and utilize that as much as possible. These are also very cool because certain ones will allow you to, not have to use MP for some amount of time. So you can cast spells without using MP for like a short amount of time, right? And then others will help you do a limit break level 2 or even 3, things like that, or help you do more damage when an enemy's staggered or make the stagger last longer, things like that. So these are all, different and cool things to unlock as you progress through the game. Smash all boxes because you're going to get items, you're going to get Moogle medals and different things from that, and it's going to help you, get potions and other items. It's going to save you money in the long run when it comes to your gil in the game. And especially early on, you want to save your gil. And along with that, you're going to check for discounted items at all vending machines you come across. Make sure you buy those discounted items every single time. They are worth it, even if you don't think they are. Just do it. Trust me. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you gil in this game in the long run, because at least early on, there's not too many different ways to make a lot of gil or make much gil at all. You essentially just got to do like the side quest stuff on top of the main story. If you want to, I don't necessarily recommend it because you don't really need to, but you can just keep fighting enemies to get gil that way too. But there's going to be like certain chests and things you'll find in the environment that's going to help give you some gil too, as well as other items as well. So just keep that in mind, along with keeping an eye out for environmental cues in the open world, such as like, I know for some people this has been an issue, the yellow paint, for example. That's an environmental cue, like this is where you got to go, or option you can go to, and things like that. Chests, like I said, make sure you look for these chests, open all chests you can, look for different pathways to go through, explore everything basically, because this game is huge, man. Have fun exploring everything. Now, initially, I would say too, at least in the starting the grasslands, first off, before you explore everything, and even not just the grasslands, but each region, you want to do this first. Make sure you unlock chocobos. All right, that's going to make exploring faster and easier overall when you get each chocobo for each region. And then, of course, as you progress, you'll eventually unlock the buggy from the OG. It's going to help out in the Corel region. But before you even get there, you're going to focus on unlocking chocobos and utilizing them to help you progress through the areas faster, explore quicker, find cooler stuff, things like that. Seek out summon crystals, guys. Do not sleep on this, because if you try to fight a summon at full power, especially early game, you're just not going to be able to do it. You're not until you at least leveled up, way further down the line. So the summon crystals, there's at least 3 per region, right? And you're going to use these to weaken the summon, but also strengthen it. So essentially, you do these summon crystal puzzles. They're very easy. You find all 3. You go back to Chadley. You take on the summon fight. You do the like what level 3 one where it's powered down by like level 3. And it's gonna be a much easier fight overall. You'll kick its butt. You'll get the summon materia, and you're good to go. Plus, it'll be leveled up, I believe, to 4 stars versus the 1 star you probably get with having the pre-order bonus stuff, or also the save data from the demo and remake integrate. Always check notice boards in towns for side quests, guys, because like I mentioned before, side quests are important to do. You want to do all the side quests to get cool stuff. It'll save you some money too. Plus, save you some money from buying certain weapons that you thought maybe you had to buy. Like, for example, at Com, there are at least a few weapons there that are optional buys, but you don't need to buy them because you do get them from chests, or at least from doing side quests. So keep that in mind. Don't ever think you have to buy certain weapons or things right away. Do side quest first, and then if you still don't have the item you want, then go back and buy it at the weapon shop or item shop, because by then you'll have enough gil for it. Don't ignore the item transmuter, guys. You will unlock this through story progress. This is such a vital thing to have and use in this game because they added crafting here. And you're going to be, exploring, collecting materials. And this is going to be great to save you money as well on gil, because you are going to use this a lot, help like essentially help you make like potions, high potions, and other items along the way. And you will be able to level up by making new items that you have materials for. And that way, once every time you level up, that means newer items you can make with this mechanic. It's very, very important to use. Do not ignore it whatsoever. It's a lot of fun as well too, and it's going to save you time. It's going to save you money, and you can just make some really cool stuff from this. It's going to help with your builds for your characters too. Build a solid Queen's Blood deck. Now, I know card games are not for everybody, but holy hell, am I personally enjoying Queen's Blood. And if you build a solid Queen's Blood deck in this game, you will be good. You want to always swap out, a few of the older cards for newer cards you get. Change up your strategy a bit as you progress, because you're going to run into more tougher opponents as you progress through the story. And honestly, just give it a shot. Give it a shot, because you get some cool stuff from doing the side quests of this. Some cool things you'll see, some cutscenes, etc. There's like an extra lore, tied to the card game as well too. You don't want to miss either. That's really freaking cool. So definitely don't ignore this either. Build solid Queen's Blood deck. And to me personally, this kind of plays similar to what Gwent is from Witcher 3. Not 100% the same way, but there's some elements that are very similar, but it's also its own unique thing. I personally really enjoy it. I find a lot of fun. I know it can be tough for some people to get a handle of, and some people don't like it, because I've heard it from my own community, and so a few people just don't like Queen's Blood card game. But if you need to, watch a video on YouTube that is dedicated to kind of helping you better understand Queen's Blood and FF7 Rebirth, or Google it or things like that to help you there. I may also make a video on my own to kind of help people better understand Queen's Blood, so it's not so scary or intimidating as well too. Just give me some time. But yeah, another thing I want to add to this list here is chakra materia. Do not sleep on this, because especially for those of you that plan to do a New Game Plus hard mode run, you will not be able to use items. I would advise get plenty of chakra materia early on. It's only 300 gil per. I personally got enough for my characters. I basically would use this for my DPS characters like Cloud, Tifa, Red 13, Yuffie, as well as my tank characters I plan to have, which is Barret and Kate Sif. So like, this is very important overall. You don't necessarily need to use it for Aerith, because she comes with prayer materia, but I would say chakra materia very important, because it helps you save on MP. So you're not always using MP for healing materia. You can use chakra instead. But and at the same time, leveling this up, especially for those of you that are going to do a New Game Plus hard mode playthrough or whatever, you're not going to be able to use items. So if you already have the chakra maxed out to its full capacity, you're good to go for that run whenever you do that in the future. I know I plan to do it as well. But all this, yeah, this has saved me a ton in terms of spending gil on freaking high potions, things like that. Plus with the item transmuter, use that to make potions, things like that. So this is going to save you a lot of gil overall if you just use this to keep your party healed up. Obviously, it costs 1 bar of ATB gauge, but that builds up pretty quickly if you build your characters right and you're doing what you need to in combat to get the ATB gauges up like you should. A lot of usefulness out of this. I highly recommend, guys. Don't ignore it. Like I said, it's only 300 gil. So, like I said, I bought enough for about like 5 of my characters. Cloud, Tifa, Red, Barret, Kasif, and Yuffie. Sorry, that's 6. So yeah. But that's going to wrap it up for this beginner's tip guide video 457 Rebirth. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you liked this. If you did, please leave a like. Leave a comment as well. Let me know your thoughts on this. Is this helpful to you? Are there some other tips maybe I didn't think of that you would suggest to others as well to utilize without, please try to keep it spoiler free as much as possible to the main story. But yeah, I try to do my best to keep this spoiler free as far as like main story bits and even some side story elements too. I wanted to keep it really focused on like mechanics, items, things like that. But yeah, hope you really enjoyed this. I love doing stuff like this for you guys to try and give you guys some help and a better understanding of game mechanics when it comes to RPGs, especially with a game like this, because this game is massive. So thank you for watching. My name's Mike. I'll see you next time.